Hey folks, it's Lex here from Bored at Work, and today we have a very special video for you. Yesterday, Apple announced a new operating system in iOS 8 and Yosemite for Mac OS. There's going to be tighter integration going forward, which is good to see from Apple, but today we're going to be focusing on the operating system for iPhone. Now today I have an iPhone 5 in front of me. The 4S and the 5S will undoubtedly get this update later on in the fall, but overall, for people that have the iPhone 4, you will not be getting this, so it may be time to upgrade. But saying that, we're going to get right into it and go to all the new feature sets that have come with the iOS 8 beta developer version. Starting with Safari, this is going to be the major updates for iOS 8. As you can see here, I have TheVerge.com open, and this is their mobile site. And I must say, The Verge actually has a really great mobile site. There really is no issues with it. It's very functional in that regard. But for Android users, you guys know if you don't like a mobile version of a website, you can request a desktop version. This feature has been omitted from the iOS operating system for quite some time, but now they have added the feature. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the URL bar there and just drag down. And you get to add the favorites option and request a desktop. Now for some reason, this is a beta. It's very dark. The lettering should be in white or more translucent. It's not. But as you can see here, I'm going to click request a desktop site and it's going to open it for me. So that's a very simple feature that Android users have had for quite some time, but it's good to see that Apple has added it to their Safari browser. Also, other changes involve under the hood enhancements, which is good to see. It's a much faster mobile browser. I think currently it was the BlackBerry operating system or BB10 that had the fastest browser, but with these new numbers, Safari is back to being on top as well. Siri has been on iOS for a while now, and overall her functionality has been good enough to get us through, but it definitely needs to be enhanced. And with iOS 8, Apple has heard our cries and definitely added functionality to her. For you music lovers out there, having an app like Shazam, pressing it, going into it, have it listen, by that time you may have already lost the music that you're trying to understand. So with Siri now in iOS 8, Shazam has been integrated into it naturally, and you can just have it play it and pretty much listen to the music that's just playing in the background. So we're going to test that out and see how well it works. Now this is a beta, so if it does not work, please show some disregard for how the functionality isn't complete yet. It will be coming full-fledged down the road, down in the fall. So we're going to start this now.
Like the empires of the world unite, we are alive.
Alright, so I was playing Shakira Empire here. Everybody loves Shakira, so I figured I'll play a music video by her. And it's all well, and now it says Empire by Shakira, brings up the photo art, which is nice. And you have a buy option with iTunes. Now, Apple definitely has to sell something with their features, so that's very nice to see that integration there. But overall, that is cool to see from Shazam and Siri. Now, if you're in the car, if you're connected to pretty much a dock home station at your desk, you have the ability to activate Siri without holding the home button. No, I'm not in the car, nor do I have a home connector, so you just have to take my word. But saying, hey Siri, which by any means is very similar to Google now, saying, okay Google, you have the ability to activate Siri services and use Siri. This is a welcome feature. I mean, it's about time. It's been a couple years now since Siri's launch, and having touchless control only makes sense with a voice assistant. As you can see here, I have my lock screen on my iPhone now, and I'm on my lock screen for a reason, to show you that there have been some enhancements added to iOS 8 with lock screen features. Now I'm going to send myself a message here, and as it comes through, you'll see it pop up, hopefully. See how it goes. As you can see, I messaged myself, hey, and now from the lock screen now, usually you'll be able to swipe this way or from the notification to answer it, but now you have different options. So I'm going to swipe this way, and now you have the ability to mark as read or reply. This is pretty cool. So now if you see a message from someone that you really don't want to talk to currently, or you just want to reply directly there, you can do that. So I'm going to click reply, and it brings up what you see here as the new notification system. As notifications come in, you get the little black bar at the top. That's very known with iOS 7. But now you can pull that down and reply via the notification with a message. You also have the ability to talk using Siri, so that's cool to see as well. Overall, that's pretty awesome. It's definitely a welcome feature, and other Android devices have had this for quite a while, so Apple has been seemingly taking features from other operating systems and putting them in a very different way, which I mean, I really can't argue with. Adding functionality to any device is always a plus. But overall, this is a welcome feature on iOS 8. Have the notification tray open. Now before you had actually a 3 view, you can customize that before, but now you only have the option of today and notifications, and I actually like this. You don't want to have a cluttered notification bar, and it seemed like it was getting a bit too much with iOS 7. They've trimmed it down a little bit now. But as you can see here, there is a new edit button now, and that's for the new third-party integration of widgets. Now they aren't in the form of the way that Android users are welcome to, or any other platform. You don't have the ability to have the widgets on your home screen or anywhere else in the operating system, but you do have the ability to customize them and add it here. Now that is up to developers to actually input and integrate in their code, but overall that will be nice to see. Now they showed examples of Sports Center, so that would be a very practical usage for it, but they don't have any now as this is the beta, so that's just something you'll have to see later on down the road. Moving along, we're going to go to messages now, and as you can see here, I have hey now to myself multiple times. I'm going to actually do hey again to show you how the notification and messages work a little bit better now. As you can see, the notification came through as I said previously, but now I'm showcasing that pull down feature that gives you text messages and the ability to type, and then you can send it off and go about your business. So you no longer have to exit out of an application to reply to a message. So that's very convenient. It is 2014, so I don't want to give too many accolades to Apple. This already should have been done. But overall, it is again a welcome addition to iOS. As you can see here, I have iMessage open, and there's 2 new blue icons. You have the camera and you have this new mic here. If you guys are familiar with WhatsApp and Snapchat, what I'm about to show you is not new to you, but Apple has seen some of those features incorporated into the iMessage very seamless like, and I really appreciate what they've done here. Now this is only compatible with iMessages, so this is staying inside the iOS ecosystem. Really can't blame Apple for that. But overall, you're going to hold down this mic here, and you have the ability to record whatever you want to say, almost a quick snippet if you must. And then if you want to send it off, you would swipe up. But if you want to stop, you just exit out of it, and then you're done. That's integrated naturally inside the messaging app, so that's really cool to see. If I go over to the camera side, I'm going to hold down the camera, and you can see I'm there. My thumb's in the way, but I'm in the background. And if I swipe up, I can take a picture. But if I don't want to take a picture, I can swipe to the right and record video. And that's all integrated inside that button. So if I don't want to, I'll go back and I'm done. That's really cool to see. I really can't blame Apple for adding that functionality into the app. And if you can see here, there's a new gray bar. This is autocorrection finally for iOS keyboard. This is pretty insane for Apple to promote it as QuickType, as I said during the presentation, as their new feature. This has been around for years. I mean, I remember Android having this back in 2010. So it is nice to see. But it works a little bit differently. It actually learns your writing habits. So let's say I'm typing to particularly my friend here in Hampton. It recognizes how I speak to him, and it suggests words that I might say according to those patterns, and it would work differently via me talking on Facebook versus my messaging app. So they've made it a bit more intelligent, but again, it's just a welcome feature. Really can't pretty much give accolades to Apple for doing this. Now, if you decide not to hold down that camera button, you can also tap it. So when I tap it here, you actually get the option of quick access to your recent photo reel in your camera app. Now, this is very intuitive design by Apple. It only makes sense to give you this option if you want to send an attachment. More times than not, it's going to be very recent. So they're giving you that option, and you also have photo library, and you have the ability to take photo or video as you had before. Now, one of the major enhancements in iOS 8 that they've given here is the ability to send your location via your map system and share it via another contact as well. And this is only with iMessaging accounts, so don't think this is ubiquitous. And you can see here, do not disturb. This is a great feature, so if you talk to somebody, they're annoying you, or you just rather not be disturbed, you have the option to just switch that on there. Now, I'm not going to do that. This is one of my good friends here, so let's not switch that off. And then, as you can see here, there's an attachment section. This is genius, in my opinion, as before when you would be in a conversation list, you might want to send video or a photo. This happens many times throughout the day. Before you have to scroll, find that video, see what time of day it was taken. It's very tedious to do that. It's very hard to find all the media content in a thread list. iOS is giving you the ability to see it all in one station here, so that's really great to have from iOS 8. Going back, I'm going to actually tackle a huge situation that's wrong with the the messaging app, and that's group chat. Group chat has been nothing but frustration if you haven't used it before. You get nonstop notifications. You would have to beg someone to take you out of the notification system, and it was just very hard to actually have a great experience. Well, if I go to details here, as you can see, the first new feature is the ability to name the subject head, so you no longer get that ugly number title or group title if you know that before. And you can name it, let's say, my best friends, and that would change universally throughout all the people in that correspondence, so that's cool as well. Scrolling up a little bit more, now these are iMessages contacts. You would have the ability to send your location and also share your location, and you also have the do not disturb option as well. Now, the coolest feature, in my opinion, is having the ability to leave the conversation yourself now. So kudos to Apple for doing that. That is great. So now this is not available now. I created this thread, so really wouldn't make sense for me to leave it. But if you're in an iMessaging chat room, you would be able to do that, and no worries. And the attachment section is also here, and I feel like this is where that feature shines the most. Overall, that's pretty much it for the messaging app. You still have the ability to swipe and delete as you had before, and it's one of the major overhauls in iOS 8. Messages have also seen an additional feature. If I scroll down here, you'll see store messages. When I click that here, you have forever, 30 days, and 1 year. There's almost like a kill switch on your messages with this feature, and that's really awesome. I mean, iPhone and iOS and Apple, all of them are worried about security, and if you don't want to have all this information taking up not only space, but valuable information, you have the ability to go to 30 days or a year. And it says this will immediately delete messages older than 30 days. Now, you might not want to do that, but just be very keen on what kind of usage you have. But they've added that, so that's really cool to see. As you can see, I am in the App Store for Apple, and pretty much I'm in the gaming section for a particular reason. Now, if you guys haven't heard in the news in the tech world, there are a tremendous amount of, let me get that HTC out the way. There are a tremendous amount of accidents when it comes to games on the App Store. There are a multitude of different stories of children buying nonstop apps or in-game purchases from these applications, and parents being footed the bill and being really pissed off about that, and ultimately suing Apple for this and winning in some cases. So in order to prevent that, there's a new thing called Family Share, and this is somewhat genius by Apple, and I'm really going to see this be adopted by other operating systems in the future. So when you first open up the App Store, you're prompted with iOS 8, you're prompted to actually add any accounts that you want to share as pretty much the administrator of that account via iCloud. So once you do that, let's say a kid is about to buy a game via an app, or they're actually playing a game and they're about to purchase something, they have to be approved to do that. You get a notification on the main device or your main account, and you're notified that there is a purchase being attempted, and if you want to deny it, you deny it, and that's that. So it takes the next step. So not only, because you can also do password protection, but if you don't have password protection, you will have the ability to be notified and cancel all transactions. So that is one little snippet that they gave during the presentation. So that's definitely going to prevent a lot of suing and a lot of accidental purchasing going on with the updated iOS 8. Big changes have also been added to the camera app of iOS 8. Now, as you can see here, you have your auto, your HDR, and there's a little timer button now. I'm going to click that, and you have the option to actually wait for an image to be taken 3 seconds or 10 seconds. This is awesome. This is one of those features that you get with higher tiered cameras. So I'm going to click 3 seconds, and if I click a picture, there's a countdown at the bottom. And if you're not facing the picture, there's an LED notification light for the people being pictured. So if you want to smile, you guys want to wait, you have one of those makeshift tripods for smartphones, that is awesome. You also have the ability for 10 seconds as well. So really can't complain about that. If I scroll at the bottom here, you have a new time-lapse feature. So I'm actually going to showcase this now. As you can see, I'm twiddling my fingers. I'm doing what I can. It's recording while I'm doing this. So when I stop that now, it should be in my video section. So I'm going to play that, and it's very fast. I mean, that's unreal. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what you would need that for. Maybe for long animation stills. So overall, that's cool to see. I'm going to go back here, go done, and you're back to the camera app. Now, I'm actually going to take a picture here, and let's take a picture of my hand. So there we go. and the picture's taken. I'm going to go to that picture now, and as you can see, you have the ability to favorite that picture, and that favorite will be in a separate section in your photo album. So that's cool to see. So all your favorite pictures will be in one gallery section. You don't have to search and find them. They're already put in a category for you, so kudos to Apple for that as well. Some of the major changes have been in the editing software. So if I click edit here, I'm going to click cropping, and you get full control of cropping. So if I see here, I turn it, I can stop it that way, I can turn it this way, and that's full functionality of cropping your pictures. So we're going to do a high-fi format there, and then you're done. So that's cool, and it just crops it, and it's there for you. I'm going to go back to edit, and I'm going to go to the filters. Now the filters haven't changed much, they're still there, so that hasn't been changed. If you go to lighting, this is where things have been changed. If I click this arrow here, you get brightness, contrast, exposure, highlights, and shadows. That's full control of your image there. If you go to color, you have contrast and vibrancy as well. So those are some of the big changes in the camera app for iOS 8, and I really have to commend Apple for doing that. People that love taking photos, people that love Instagram photos, things of that nature, you're definitely going to love the new update to the camera app. One of the cool features, and by far maybe one of the most benefiting to, I guess, future photographers in the world, is the on-the-go exposure adjustment. So I'm actually going to bring my HTC One here, and as you can see, it's in the image. I'm going to tap focus, and you can see there's a brightness button there. I'm going to click another button, and I'm going to adjust the exposure on the go. Just by scrolling. Now you got to hold down and press it, and you can scroll. That is pretty awesome. And you can keep on scrolling up if you want to. You can go like that and brighten up the picture a bit. And you can also go like that and bring it down. And that's pretty much how you do on-the-go exposure changing with iOS 8. For people that love accessibility options in iOS, Apple has not forgotten about you. I'm actually in the zoom section, and they've had this before. It really isn't new, but there is a new feature. As you can see here, I have click the lens mode to be windowed, and if I click the zoom here, you actually get a small box, and it actually magnifies anything that you put over it. This is really cool. It's really practical on smaller displays. iOS 8 is definitely getting prepared for bigger displays, so you got to add enhancements as that operating system expands a bit, and this is one of those enhancements. You can also click here and actually minimize that to your liking, and then as well untap and move it along as well, and that goes throughout the operating system as it has before. So that's really cool to see. I'm just going to turn that off. So that's one of the feature sets that have been added in iOS 8. I'm going to go back here, and if you can see, there's a new grayscale option. Now this may be for people that really don't like the bright colors, and it may affect your eyes. Its brightness on the iPhone is really good. So I'm going to click grayscale here, and it grayscales the whole operating system. So I'm going to go back. As you can see, it is pretty much black and white. This is really cool for nighttime. I might actually use this, so to speak, if I need to, but it's really cool to see for them to added functionality to the settings and the accessibility. I'm going to close that here and go to general, and I'm going to go to usage, and this has been a feature that has been on Android for, I guess, maybe 2 or 3 years or so. You actually get a tailored vision of the usage that you have. So if I go to battery usage, you'll see that you have your last 24 hours and your last 7 days, and it gives you a percentage of what apps and what systems that you're using at what intervals and the percentage that you get. So that's really cool to see. Usage time actually gives you the time and the standby, so it's deeper integration with the battery, and that's really something that isn't new. I really wouldn't accolade Apple in that regard, but it is nice to see on iOS 8. And that's pretty much it for accessibility. There really isn't too much else going on, but it is definitely added features. Now I'm actually going to click the multitasking button here, and as you can see, I have the multitasking as usual, and I have a new contact recents option above. This kind of makes sense. I mean, before I really felt as if Apple was wasting space with this option, but they've added the ability to talk to your recent contacts, and if you click one, you can actually interact with them. So you can call, you can message, you can FaceTime, and do FaceTime via voice and via video. So that's really cool to see. It has your images as well, and this is including your favorites and recents. It's not just recents. So I really like that feature by Apple, and it kind of makes more functionality to what was really minimal feature set with multitasking. And it does seem a bit faster. I mean, if you guys can tell, it's more snappier. So, and this is a beta, so imagine how it's going to be when it's finalized later this fall. And that's going to be the enhancements for multitasking and messaging. Now, if you go to, let's say, the web, as I go here and I'm going to click share, there's been some new features added. Now, Apple announced third-party integration with sharing, so apps will finally be able to somewhat talk to each other. It's kind of sandbox. You have to write the programming in your code, but you have the ability to share content throughout other apps on the operating system. So kudos to Apple finally giving it to us. It isn't new, but yay for sure. And this hasn't been really announced, but you kind of share frequently different social media sites and applications. There should be an algorithm to kind of know that beforehand, but they don't have it on iOS 8. You can actually hold this here and switch it like you want to. So if you share on Facebook more often, you can share on Facebook. If you do on messaging, you can do that as well. And it's also the bottom half, so you can do this with the bottom half as well. You can switch this as you will. Now, they showcased during the presentation, if you have a web page that's in Japanese, Bing applications will be able to translate that live on the screen. So that's also added functionality. And if you go to more, you have the ability to turn off photos or Twitter or Facebook in a menu setting. I'm actually going to turn those back on. I use those frequently. But overall, that is added functionality with sharing. You finally have apps somewhat talking to each other and have access to content throughout your whole operating system. In my time with iOS 7, one of the features I usually never even thought about using was their new Spotlight search. So they've added some enhancements with iOS 8. As you can see here, in addition to searching through your iPhone, you can now get suggestions from the internet, iTunes, the App Store, movie showtimes, locations nearby, and much, much more. Now, developers will undoubtedly have the ability to integrate this later on down the road in their code, but I'm just going to showcase this feature to see how well it goes. Now, Edge of Tomorrow seems like a pretty badass movie, so Edge of Tomorrow, and it pops up, and that was very fast. And you have the App Store, you have Wikipedia, and the movie comes out Friday, so it's not going to give you movie times unless you went to an early showing. But overall, that is fast, seamless, and it makes sense. It's kind of universal search like Google search and on Android, but I like how it's been integrated here. So let's type in, let's do iOS 8. So iOS 8. You can search the web or search Wikipedia. Now, if I go to copy, as you saw just now, you can search your apps, you can search your music, and you can also search your contacts. So it seems like a feature I'm actually going to end up using more often, so I can just scroll on my home screen and do that. So Apple has done some really genius stuff here. Instead of adding stuff to the home screen that's very iconic for them, they've kind of made it very elusive and centered all the features around that operating system on the home screen. So really got to commend Apple for doing that as well. They've been doing a lot of stuff on here that really doesn't copy fully to the competitors, but definitely is taking elements of stuff that can enhance their operating system. I'm actually going to go to the mailing app here, and they haven't done much with it, but they have added some cool stuff here. So if I scroll up, go to mailbox, let's go to some junk. We don't have any junk. Let's go to trash. Yeah, go to trash. So here's a PR email here. I'm actually going to go back and pull it, and you get more options. If you fully go this way, you can do delete. But if you don't do that, you can just more flag or delete it that way and go to more here, and you get more options. So that's one of the small enhancements that have been made to the mailing app, but nothing really drastic. Now, I haven't showcased it here, but I'm actually going to scroll it up here. And as you can see, I have a Mac. And if I scroll back here, I have an iPhone. They should not be separated, and Apple has heard our cries, and they made tighter integration between them. So let's say when the new Mac operating system Yosemite comes out, if I'm writing an email here, there's something called continuity or continuity. I'm sorry, that was really odd. Continuity. Overall, what you're going to do is you're going to take, let's say, that messaging app that you're using, and you're going to click a button on your Mac, and it's going to seamlessly fly up there, and you continue your conversation on your Mac. And this works vice versa. So if I bring in that mailing app, I'm typing in on my Mac, and I click, there's going to be a notification system that shows you that you have a nearby iPhone. You're going to send that in there, and you're going to have it on your phone. And this is very seamless, and this only works with iOS devices. It's very cool. It kind of keeps our ecosystem more plentiful and it makes it more, or gets more feature set, if anything. And this works with text messages and phone calls. So let's say your phone is out of the picture somewhere and you have your Mac here and you want to talk to someone, you can answer it on your Mac. It's connected, I don't think it's via Bluetooth. I think it's maybe another system, might be AirPlay. I'm not too sure. I didn't get too many details during the presentation. But you can answer it and talk on your Mac via the speaker. And you can also reply to your text messages on your Mac. The continuity feature is something that's been really long coming. And now Google Voice had something very similar to this, but the integration was wacky and really didn't work well. This is something that comes baked with every iOS device. So that Apple tax that you hear of is something that you really have to think about when you're buying an iPhone. It really adds additional functionality to the iPhone. Last but not least, we have the coveted Health app for iOS 8. Now, this isn't particularly what we were looking for in terms of the iWatch, but this shows you what's coming. So if you see here, you have a dashboard and you have My Health, you have diagnostics, fitness, lab results, medication, nutrition, etc. This is pretty much a hub for all that is health for you. It's pretty much aggregates all of your health information from all your other apps via the Nike Fuel or Fuel Band app. Anything that you use that's health pertained, it's pretty much absorbed into this app, and you have access to all that information. On top of that, this app is connected to, or is going to be connected to, outside outlets like the Men's Health Society or any other group that is pertaining to look for health information. This is really awesome. It's important for info health, and it works with outside clinics to integrate all this information. So you really can't complain about something like that. Now, people might argue, now this pretty much is adding another standard to this ecosystem of apps. I don't really agree with that. I think that this is going to be a nice addition. If you want someone to create a standard, you want it to be Apple, because you know it's going to be secure and you know it's going to be of high quality. So overall, this is great. It is in its infancy right now. We really don't have anything to showcase all the features, but it's really deep. You have glucose, pressure, fat percentage, heat flux, mass index, temperature, calcium. I mean, look at this list. I mean, this is crazy. And this is just a version 1.0, basically, if not beta. So this is awesome. You also have a medical ID. So this contacts those medical conditions. And if there's anything going on, it will emergency dial without unlocking your phone. I mean, I really have to commend Apple here. They took the whole health industry and what's going on with that and went the next step. And that's why I agree that when Apple makes something, sometimes if they do something half-assed like the widgets in the notification bar, that's something different. But when they work on something like health, they really put genius behind it and pretty much aggregate it to all the operating system and to outside that as well to create a great ecosystem. So that's pretty much it for iOS 8 and all its updates. There is one small thing. As you see, I have a new wallpaper that comes with the beta version. That's one new wallpaper. So that's aesthetically what's changed. But other than that, that's pretty much it for iOS 8. You have camera, Siri enhancements. You have health. You have camera applications. You have messaging, which is probably the biggest one. You have enhancements to how the notification system is interacting with you. Overall, this is a great update. This is one of those updates from Apple that is very rare. I really don't like their updates. And iOS 7 was something that I had to come to become acquainted with. It grew on me. It took a while, but it's now something that I really enjoy. And iOS 8 just adds tremendous amount of functionality to what's a really good operating system. Be sure to like, share the video, comment in the sections below. Subscribe if you guys haven't already to continue to see great content from Bored at Work. And remember to always enjoy your entertainment. Thanks, folks.